12:59, about to go 1 p.m. Let us know when you're ready.
All right.
Are you going live as soon as you hit the button?
Let's do it. So you're good.
Tell us when you hit it.
Hitting it, buffering.
Hello, can you hear us? Are we live?
Okay.
I see the buffering going on, but there's a 30-second delay, so it means we are actually live.
Great.
How are you, Bradley?
Great.
Good to see you.
See you too. This is going to be fun, man.
This is a lot of fun. Oh, we've got an ad coming up for masterclass.com for those of you who are seeing the same ad as us. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. I haven't listened to any of the mixes, so this is as new to me as it is to you. Where are the mixes, Eric?
Oh, if you go to your Finder, let me...
The mixes aren't set up to listen to. But anyway, so there will be mixes to play. Have you connected it through the console?
To the audience, but you're listening to playback to the...
Okay, good.
They're right here.
What I say, this is nothing like being set up. And this is nothing like being set up. So, how are you? Have you been good?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been busy. You've been working with Mr. Roger Carter, you said.
That's right. We recorded Guns N' Roses drummer last week.
Nice. What was it for? Was it for a project? Was it an overdubs?
It was for a project. This kid's 12 years old and he writes these songs and he hires like rock stars to play on all of his stuff.
That's what you do when you're 12.
It's rad.
Yeah?
It was pretty cool. Huge entourage and the whole thing.
Oh, well, I'm assuming they had some wealthy parents there.
Yeah, probably, I guess.
Probably. But,
I didn't want to assume.
but was it talented? Was the music good?
Yeah. Like super heavy music, which I love, you know.
Nice.
So got sounds super quick. He knocked it out like 6 times and then we were done.
I imagine Roger's room must be good because Roger is Roger Carter. For those people who don't know, he's a world-class drummer. He was Rick Springfield's drummer for 20
He's got
years. Or something.
so many drums.
Yeah. So I imagine it's an amazing drum room. I've never recorded in there. We did a course in there with Matt Starr, but I wasn't there. I was working on another album.
It's a really like it's a tight room, meaning not small but tight. Like it's a jewel. Like everything's just beautiful.
Oh, nice.
It's just gorgeous. It's all super perfected and stuff, and everything's in its place. And
What's it called again?
the Doghouse.
The
Studio.
Doghouse. That's
yeah.
it.
It's
And
really
Roger
nice,
Carter
though.
is such a sweet guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Was he down for the session?
Yeah, he hung out a little bit. Yeah, for sure.
Great.
Yeah,
I'm glad. Yeah,
it's
I really
really
like
fun.
it. When it was
It's easy to work there. So easy. Everything just there's no mystery to anything. You know, everything's just right.
Yeah, it's
there.
good gear, isn't it? They've got really nice pre's and stuff. What was the console that's in there?
Well, it's like one of those Pro Tools Surface things.
Oh, okay, and then just tons of external pre's,
Yeah, exactly.
Needs and
Needs
APIs.
and API stuff, yeah.
Great.
You know, LA2A, 1176.
But he's really good friends with
Stressors.
Mark Lothman, so he probably has a ton of BAE, yeah?
Oh, that's right. Is that why? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, a ton of
Yeah.
BAE stuff in there.
That's how I met him, through Mark, a few years ago.
Wow.
And then, of course, I came to find out that him and Tim Pierce are really good friends, and so's John Five. They're all really good friends, and
That's right.
Yeah.
Maybe some John 5 stuff coming up over there. Sounds like fun.
that'll be fun.
Yeah.
So, who we got online? Hello, Darko. Hello, Mitchell. The Ellen Music. Doug, Alexei, Alexander, Mark, Carl, Daniel, David, Fidelity, PH, Adam, Kyle, Emily. Hi, Emily. Hi, Dan. Hi, Danny. Doug. Wow. Lots of love. Oh, Ron. Hey, Ron. Always good to have you here. So I hope you're all doing marvelously well. Did you all mix the songs? Eric has chosen the songs, so we can start listening to that. But of course, you know, part of this is we're going to listen to some songs. We'll talk about the mixes and get some tips from Bradley. Like Bradley, like as you were saying earlier, you basically did a faders up mix.
Yeah, I didn't want to get too precious about it. Plus, it's a punk song or like
Yeah.
a kind of a hard song where you can get away with that kind of thing. So
Right.
I was maybe going to start moving some stuff around, and then we put everything through that Decca compressor or that BBC compressor, as you
Yeah.
call it, right?
Yeah.
And everything sounded really cool, and we just went with it. So it was just a faders up kind of mix. So
Right.
it should be pretty easy to destroy my mix.
Fantastic.
You know? I'm curious to know if people use the Scully stuff or the stuff from the Pro Tools or, you know, what parts of it, because there was a lot of stuff to choose from
Right.
in there,
Great.
timbre-wise, you know.
Alexander says, how bad is the commute from Undertone? Probably about 20 minutes drive, wasn't it?
From here?
Yeah.
I mean, I came from home and it was like a half hour, but Undertone, yeah, 20 minutes.
Yeah. Everywhere in LA is 20 minutes away. And if the traffic's good, it's 20 minutes away.
Or
if
an
it's
hour.
bad, it's an hour.
It's an hour, exactly.
Hey, dudes, says Death Ruddles. Hey, dudes. Hey, James, how are you, Mr. Gorman? Carlos. Hello, Country Tea. Hey, Andy. And hi, Ray. Okay, so I'm going to start from the top of the ones that have been selected.
Is it titled with the mixer on it? Who mixed it?
Yep. Okay, so... Oh, James Gorman's actually at the top. James, Eric has put you at the top.
Check it out.
So there you go.
Are we listening to the Genlet?
On the Gelex, yeah. Maybe, yeah.
Hey little girl, what you wanna do? Wanna rock and roll, just me and you. Oh yeah, yeah,
Distortion.
Let's all have a blast, 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 let's all blast, all blast, all blast, oh yeah! Oh yeah! Woo! Let's all have a blast, let's all have a blast, let's all have a blast, blow our brains out of our minds, blow our brains out of our minds. Let's do something wrong, let's do something wrong, let's do something wrong, and we can have fun all night. We can have fun all night.
Nice.
Nice.
It's good, James. Well, we got there's a 30-second delay, so you won't be able to answer immediately. But what did you favour? No, you were saying the choices in the audio would be.
Oh, the set of stuff from the tape machine, the Scully tracks, and also there's the just the Pro Tools tracks themselves.
Yeah.
And the there was a couple choices on the snare. It was split out to a UTA preamp and one to a Scully preamp.
And you think that sounds like the Scully because you hear the.
Yeah, a lot of nice distorted, crunchy snare in there.
It's
just
interesting.
Venturing a guess.
It's got an overall kind of like crunch to the whole thing, but at the same time the kick and the bass are quite defined. So I'm wondering.
It's good low end.
Yeah, I wonder what's going on. I mean, James, give us a little idea because I mean I like it. It's the thing about it is, and it's going back to our conversations about like albums like Raw Power and stuff. Is like Raw Power is the best sounding, worst mixed album of all time.
Yeah,
I mean,
aggressive.
it's such a bad, amazing record.
Yeah.
So there's something about real punk rock which is supposed to be wrong.
Yeah.
We embrace the wrong.
I was going to say cocaine, but yeah.
This is a closed network at the moment. That
wasn't like a product.
Okay, so James says Tape and Scully, and I'm hearing myself really super loud. So it said adding more crunch on the snare after gating. Can you turn me down in the headphones or with it? Sorry, I'm like I can hear an echo of everything I'm saying. And now people talking about pizza. Okay, I'm not sure where that came from. The pizza still rules, Zach. Okay, great. All right, so Not sure what's going on here. So, yeah, James said he added more crunch on the snare after gating. Oh, okay, cool. And he used the tape and the Scully. I think in general it's like...
The Scully's going to sound so much better than... Like, I was A-Bing during the chorus. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, it was so noticeable. Like,
Right.
so much better. I can imagine no one picked the Pro Tools version and everyone used the Scully version.
Right. I suppose it depends on what you wanted to... Yeah,
Moorish.
I suppose it's just what you wanted to go for. I haven't mixed the song, so I cannot... I should really have mixed the song and I could speak more authoritatively about it.
I should have remixed it after I just did Faders Up. I should have taken it home. And I was thinking about that. Like, I haven't had any time, but like, it would have been fun to like actually do a super mix on it because it's not too complicated of arrangement and stuff.
But I felt like that's how those records were made.
Probably, yeah. It felt right at the time. It's like nothing sounds wrong, which is, you know.
Yeah. I mean, even if you go back to Roger Manning was here yesterday. Roger Joseph Manning Jr. Roger Manning was here yesterday, and we were talking about favorite records of all time. And one of his favorite records is The Damned's first record, which is one of my favorite records. And that I can't imagine that took more than a week to make, or maybe at the most.
Oh, less probably.
Yeah, probably less.
Yeah.
It's still it's a professional sounding record. Don't get me wrong, but there's no way they had like a mix budget and they went, we're going to track for a week and mix for a week. I mean, it would have been
that shit out.
printed as it was done. And so
Yeah.
I think what you did was what you're supposed to do. You know?
Vocal went down in one go.
Yeah. And it still was
Put
2
all the
days.
mix down. Yeah,
It was still 2 days on a song. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not like, including a mix, that's not like rushing.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think even when I was working
It was
with...
luxurious.
Yeah, when I was working with Dave Sardi, we spent probably a week tracking the bass and drums, everything live, but like keeping the bass and drums and then going to overdubs. And the rule was we couldn't spend more than a day doing overdubs on a song. So basically,
It's a good rule.
yeah. So it still
Good
ended up
stuff.
as a 3-week process, but it never felt rushed. Everything was like casual. Okay, we're doing this song today. We did all the keys, bass fixes, guitars, vocals in a day, and then move on to another
Knock
song.
it out.
Yeah, and it keeps the
The momentum.
the momentum and the focus. Everybody's focused on one song for the
Yeah.
day.
If you're beating that song to death, it's just everyone's just like, oh my god, I gotta leave.
Yeah, yeah,
You know.
yeah. Although, of course, there are times when you have to, unfortunately. Tessa says, hello. Hi, Tessa. Hi, Warren and Bradley. Greetings from the UK. Oh,
Hey.
Tessa, where are you in the UK? I think you may have told me, and I apologise if I forgot. Death Rattle said, what would you do to the mix to make it sound super muddy, like Queens of the Stone Age songs for the death? Okay.
I wasn't around for songs of the Red record. What's it called? Songs for the Deaf.
Yeah.
That's right. I
Yeah.
wasn't around too much for that. That's all Eric Valentine miking and stuff.
Right. But I suppose in general, if you wanted a more of a Queens of the Stone Age drier sound, is that all in the recording, or could you do that in the mix?
Oh, that's totally recording side.
Yeah.
Dry drums and
Right.
like I did a Distillers record with Gil up in at the site.
Yeah.
And Josh and Brody were dating at the time, and Josh was telling us how he putting pillow in the corner and setting the mic in the corner. Like there's the big guitar rig, and
Yeah.
his miking technique is put a pillow in the corner and stick a mic on it, and aim it towards the corner. It's like, all right, yeah, no, we're not doing that.
Wow. So it was miking the pillow of the guitar. So the reflector sound.
It's just sitting on the pillow, miking the corner of the room with the amp over there. That was his idea to get a good guitar sound.
Whose idea?
Josh.
Josh.
Yeah. So me and Gil are just like, no. It's like he's gone. It's like, all right, cool. Let's redo this.
I think I did that.
He's super experimental. He
Right.
wants a certain sound, so he'll just mess with anything to get it, which is
Hey, dumb question. Is it Home or Home? How does he pronounce his name?
Homie.
Homie. Okay,
Yeah.
so none of the ones I know. Homie. Okay. I've always wondered because I read it and I'm like, I don't want to say it wrong. I've got one of those names
It
myself.
looks like Hom to me, but
Yeah, I've
it's
got one of those
Homie.
names that everybody messes up, so I always have to ask. So, but I have done that. I've done that in a home situation where you don't have any mic stands, and you're like fitting a mic inside of a couch, poking the head, the caps of the mic between the pillows, because that's the only way that you can balance the mic. Necessity is the
Yeah.
mother of
Just
invention.
make do.
as they say.
Adapt and overcome.
Yep. Carl says, Queens of the Stone Age, muddy yet clean somehow, just thick. Yeah, I think it's super, just massively, their tones are just big, fat, and dry.
Yep,
I mean,
big fat dead tones, just dry
Yeah.
and dead tones for
Yeah.
sure. And that's how you can make it maybe just like super fronty yet not
Right.
too toppy and annoying.
And you can apply a lot of saturation and compression without any worry about bringing in ambience in.
Oh, no, right. That's right.
Yeah.
Good point.
Were the record you did with them, were they going to tape?
Yeah, I think we were going to tape. It was at Sound City on Sylvia's board, and
Right.
it was certainly on tape. But I was doing vocals with Mark Lanigan, and
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know, I can't remember. It's been so long.
It's okay.
Some guitars and bass, I guess.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
drinking a lot and stuff. Like
And
that.
making a record.
It's gnarly, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Try to replicate the Scully tape sound in the box, but the results were miserable.
Yeah. I mean,
Real thing has enormous low end. How do you go to tape plugins to bring that sound in the box? So far, I've only tried wave stuff.
I have no idea.
I think for me, and it's a good question. I think for me, I've always liked the analog channel by Mac DSP. I've always liked Mac DSP. I like them as a company. I like Colin. I think he's a mad scientist. And their EQs are just like super dumb. It's a green.
I love those. That's like the only thing I use, kind of.
Yeah, and Brad Wood was always that guy as well. Brad Wood always said that's the only.
Just filters, subtractive.
Yeah, they just.
thing.
Yeah, and they have a thing called an analog channel, which is, I think, probably, I could be wrong, but one of, if not the first kind of analog modeling, where they went and did a lot of tape machines. You've got Ampexes and Studas in there. And does it sound exactly like it? I doubt it.
Is there a Scully in there?
I don't think so. There are some different American settings, so who knows?
Like a Studer, there's not really there is a sound to it, like the 80s or whatever, but there's not like that big old, like
Yeah,
if
that's
I was
amazing.
switching between them, it's like, yeah, I hear a difference. But the Scully or the Ampex, MM11 or 1200,
Yeah.
it's so noticeable. It's super character.
Well, I feel like, I know and agree, I feel like with those machines, they have an inherent sound immediately.
Oh, yeah.
And the A80 does have an inherent sound, but it doesn't become the sound that you love unless you smash the schnizzle out of it.
Yeah.
Like basically when I printed bass on it, I would just go like that. They go do 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 down do 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 do. End of the song, boom.
On 456 or
Yeah,
whatever.
on 456 on the A80,
Yeah.
and then the bass just comes back like this. Like there's more low end than you've ever heard in your life, and you're trying to figure out, oh my god, how am I going to make this fit in the mix? So the whole mix now is just the low end of the bass. But that's what the A80 does. It saturates the low end. But if you treat it nicely and just print it all nice,
polite.
it's just polite and average.
yeah.
Where I agree, the Scully and the Ampex already has that kind of bump just right from the get-go.
Yeah.
You don't have to necessarily abuse it to get there. In fact, I do remember my limited time on Ampexes, they didn't actually like the abuse too much. I could, if
Ampex?
I, yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but the 12, was it MM1200 I was using? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that didn't, we hit it hard a couple of times like I would on a Studer, and it was,
Oh, really?
yeah, it wasn't terrible. I'm exaggerating for effect, but
But when a barefoot, you can hit it pretty hard. And
Oh, you
sounds
can?
Nice. Mm-hmm.
who maintains yours?
Larry Jasper and there's another tech named Aaron.
I'm sure it's all about the tech. That's the thing. I mean, honestly, if we're talking about tape machines, all about the tech. Any of that kind of equipment, if you don't have an amazing tech to maintain it, it's not a good investment.
Something I learned about the Scully, that everyone talks about the UTC transformers being like the sound of it.
Yep.
And a tech told me it's not actually the transformers, it's the it's the transistors. It's those what are they called again?
Germanium?
Yeah, germanium. Yeah, I was thinking monster. They're germanium transistors.
I see.
Those old 70s little.
So for me, to answer your question, polyzanal, that sounds very Polish. My wife would probably pronounce it properly. I would try Analog Channel by Mac DSP. I'm sure they do a 14-day free trial. Just try it out. I think that's personally the closest I've got. Don't get me wrong, I love Waves plugins. I use them all the time. But when I'm reaching to try and get a more quote-unquote analog sound out of a digital recording, I go straight to Mac DSP first. The Analog Channel has been my go-to since 98 or whenever it came out.
You can also buy a Scully channel and use it as a mic pre, just like I was doing. And they're relatively inexpensive now.
Buy a Scully channel. And use
Buy
it
a
as
Scully
mic.
channel. Just got to work out that power supply issue.
Jeff Rudy says, yeah, snap. He goes, we've recorded my band with some pretty makeshift mic stands. Some worked, some didn't. And you just do what you have to do, don't you? Hey, Jürgen. Alexander says he's got similar sounds from driving his old cheap 2000 era mixer too hard. Yeah, I think some of the, I think I agree. Some of the things like the Soundcraft and Soundtracks consoles of the 90s, 80s and 90s, and DDAs. I mean, I think those are pretty overlooked.
TDA, I remember those. Wow.
These are good consoles. I mean, I used to have a 36 random number. I don't know if we had channels broken. I can't remember now. 36 channel Soundtracks, which is about the size of my SSL here, and that was a really good console. That's one of the things, you know, if you've got like an 80s or 90s console, those things are like $30,000 new. Now, of course, you can pick them up for $1,500 or $750. But
insane.
It's not. Yes, digital's fantastic, but there's something that an older console of a Soundcraft, DDA, AMEC, they're all affordable now. Those have a really interesting character, and if you are trying to do this sort of add character like everybody's asking here, don't be afraid of using an 80s or early 90s kind of console, because people used to make hit records on DDA consoles.
Transformers, just putting it through Transformers.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Yep.
That's
So,
it.
also, I used to have a TAC Scorpion, and I recorded most of the Fray's first album, the stuff that I did on that.
Is that like a live board too?
No, but that's the Allen and Heath you're thinking of. Allen and Heath S2, I think it was called. A lot of people know about that. That's another favourite for people. James says Phil's Cascade by Elysia is great for destroying stuff. That's my snare distortion on that. Hey, he is Polish. Excellent. Well, if my wife was here, she could talk to you in Polish. Kevin says, although mix engineers face many problems to solve, what do you find most challenging still today, and what advice would you give novice engineers? And I suppose, / what is the best mixing advice you ever got? So he wants to know, I mean, it's basically the same thing. Like, what is the one thing you would give somebody who's learning to mix? What's the one piece of advice that you've either A, learned, or B, you were given?
For the first part of the question, is it advice on, I mean, to make things easier in the mix, it has to be recorded well.
Yeah.
If I get someone's, stuff to mix that's not recorded well, it's just a battle. It's like a wrestling match, trying to make it just sound like something. So things need to be recorded well, basically,
So do you, if people are giving you external stuff, are you happy sometimes to get a DI because you can reamp? What do you think?
Well, like, for example, I worked with this band called Sons of Gold a couple months ago, and we recorded everything at Barefoot. It sounded super great, and they just went home and kind of did the overdubs themselves. So I got like a tambourine, an acoustic guitar, and like the acoustic guitar I got had no low end. It was just all top end.
Right.
It was just like, what do you do with this? And I asked him what he was doing. What did he have? He had like an ART preamp, a distressor, and...
Was he high passing somewhere? Or?
Yeah, he had some EQ on it. And I said, you don't need to record any EQ when you're, maybe roll off a little bottom or something like that on the guitar. But
sure.
There was no bottom end to grab. And the complaint in the mix was, hey, there's no bottom end on the guitar. It's like, there's no bottom end on the guitar. That's right.
Right.
But the performance was great, but the tone was just like questionable. So
did they re-record it?
No, we just made it work.
Made it work?
Made it work, yeah.
What did you end up doing? Just dialing in so much low end that eventually you heard some?
Yeah, I borrowed a MPEQ from Undertone.
Yeah.
Made it happen with that.
Ah, I see.
Tons of boost on the low middle or whatever we had.
Right.
So.
Yeah, definitely record it well first is definitely the secret. But the thing I hear most from that is if you're not sure what you're doing, don't do anything.
That's right.
Simple as that. If you're not sure what you're doing, don't do anything.
Yeah.
It's much easier to give a guy like Bradley something to mix that is full range and uncompressed than all the top and the bottom wiped off or some mid-range boost or cut and is so squashed that there's no dynamics left in it. And I've had all of those.
Yeah, got to give mix guy something to work with.
Yeah.
What was the second part of the question?
Second question, what is the best piece of advice you've ever got?
For mixing?
Yeah, for mixing, yeah.
Gosh, I need to think about it. You want to answer? Oh, I got to think about that.
I don't know. I mean, I know the one that's when I worked with Dave Sardi, and Chris Goss was actually around at the time, which was interesting. That's a whole other conversation, Chris. We were mixing a couple of albums. We mixed Towers of London. Remember that English band Towers of London? We were also working on The Thrills, and I also did Hot Hot Heat and some Jet stuff. And so what I would do is I'd set up his mixes and get it going on the console. And the first thing he would always do is pull back some of my EQ moves. He wouldn't necessarily like change them, like change the EQ points, because we were mixing on a Neve, so points were fixed. But, you know, he'd come on.
Just nudge the gain down, huh?
Yeah, it'd just be like, you know, oh, I like that 220 you added on the guitars, and then bring it down a little bit. Like, and one of the secrets I've found that when people ask me about specific genres or specific artists or something and getting that sound, sometimes it's like the gear is a big part of it. Not always. It's not all about the gear, don't get me wrong. But when somebody says to me, and I think you and I have talked about this before, either together or on some kind of camera, somebody said to me, how do you get the AC/DC drum sound? I was like, just open up a 1073 and boost 60 hertz, you know, use the fact that they had limited resources. They weren't working with like full parametric EQs. They weren't graphic equalizing, you know. They had fixed points, and there's something about 60 hertz on a kick. Crank it. Oh yeah, there's the bottom end. You want a bit of thump on the bass. Go to the 110. Boost a bit of that. You want some, you know what I mean? It's interesting. Go to fixed EQ points and start playing with that, and you can build a little bit of a puzzle. But I think the thing that I learned most was less is more. I'd get a little carried away when I first started, and I got really excited about seeing consoles like I have here, about the possibility of doing tons of like little EQ points.
And stuff gets phasey if you start pulling EQ, you know,
Yep.
loud stuff starts sounding weird.
Yep, I agree.
I'm like subtractive EQ guy. I guess maybe the best advice, like I was gonna say about, you know, compressing the music and compressing the vocals separately and just having at least a couple different buses for those to be separate is important.
Yep.
But I think more important is like I used to take 400 out of a bunch of stuff, and then, you know, just hanging out with Eric Valentine, I was watching him, he'd take 400 out of everything, just like huge notch out of everything. It's like, oh, that doesn't sound weird. You know, so that's like a frequency that you just don't want anything but like, say, guitars and bass or whatever. It's just like pulling that stuff out of room mics, tom-toms, snare, kick. It leaves room for all the bass and guitar to hang out in that area, and it's instantly cleans up your mix. It's like that kind of haze just goes away, and it just clears stuff up. So
for me it's 350 to 400. I just pull it out and I go wide. I pull it out and then go
to taste.
Yeah,
exactly. Cue to taste.
So
that's a big one. And
I agree.
It doesn't seem like anyone teaches that in like recording guy school. You know?
No, but everybody that follows here, they'll know we pull 350 out of everything and we go wide. So we're hitting like 4, 5, 6. I mean, it gets ugly. Yeah, as you're saying, in drums, it is super, super ugly. And it's the worst thing about toms.
Room mics.
Room mics, toms. Yeah.
That's a good one that, you know, just you have to stumble upon yourself or someone else to tell you. It's just a huge part of it, huge thing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Try
amazing.
that.
Try that. That's a good one. And we love Eric. He knows his schnizzle. Okay, so Alexi says, can you go far by using only plugins and mixing for a commercial successful track analog gear?
Yeah, everyone's doing it.
Yeah. And he said, is analog gear also very important? Oh yeah, I think the lesson I hear with Sheps and a lot of guys, and I think even Eric's mixing in a box now, isn't he? Yeah. Everybody's saying, track it as big and fat as you possibly can, and then yes, you can mix totally digital. Makes perfect sense to me. As long as it goes in, sounding great.
Hits tape on the way there or something.
Yeah. Tons of transformers, some tubes, whatever it is that you want to add.
Give it some
character. Beautiful character. Yeah, character. Great word. Bring me back. Bring me sunshine says, Tax Scorpion takes them back. Yep, takes me back too. Tessa says, greetings from the. Next one up is Electric Works says, I use a Baby Trident Toft ATB 32 now, but I still keep a Mackie 32 8 bus channel expander around. If you want painful grit, you can push these.
Painful grit.
Love that. Painful I love grit. That. Steve says, biggest challenge is everyone recording stuff using cheap condensers with a ton of 2 to 5K zing. And then he wrote in caps, make ribbons great again.
Yeah.
So that's Murga, not Marga, but Murga. Make ribbons great again. Tessa says, Bradley, when you first started out as a mixing and sound recording engineer, what equipment did you use? The reason I ask is I'm just starting out in this area.
When I first started out, I worked at a studio called For the Record in Orange, California, and he had a Neotech board, Studer A80. Yeah.
Like that?
Is that an A80?
It's an A80. Yeah.
But it was one like this, and it had a bunch of. It was like a thin version,
Right.
and there's the alignment under and above. Is that an A80?
I don't remember.
Anyway, an old Studer, and a bunch of he had a bunch of Neumann microphones. Like he had
That's already a step up.
SM.
Studer.
He had 87s and what 89s. He had 89s, little tiny 87s. He uses on the toms until they got all beat.
Right.
But I mean, I didn't really own anything at first. I worked on other people's gear,
Right.
And over the years, you buy things and build up a pile of stuff where it's like, oh, I have enough stuff to
Right.
go soup to nuts now. There's enough, stuff in my home studio where it's
Yeah.
I can pre-pro, record it, mix it, and master it if we want to, But I mean, I started out in I guess after that it was Grandmaster, so it was that Neve 8028 and an
A27?
It was a
Oh, no, 8028. Sorry, I'm thinking of the Studer.
8028 console
Yeah,
and
8028.
a
Beautiful console.
MCI tape machine, like that Ben Harper record, and
Nice.
all that stuff was done on that MCI.
So I think then for Tessa's question, I think what she's saying is did you have any home equipment, something you started off with at home?
I took a Bruce Wadeen master class, and he said buy a real-time analyzer. So I bought this
Right.
DoD real-time analyzer.
Yeah.
I brought that all over the world with me because you go to a new studio and you bring a CD with your reference tracks on it, and trying to figure the room out. And if I'm getting a kick sound, I want to just look at my real-time analyzer, which I call the cheater meter, and I want to see that thing hitting at 80.
Yeah.
I want to feel it hitting. I want to see the light at 80, and then I know I'm cool. And if I'm in a room I don't know, it was very helpful to have that.
You still have it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
DoD real-time analyzer.
Donny Osmond Developments.
Is that what it was?
That's what it stands for. DoD.
Really?
Yeah.
Donny Osmond Developments? Are you kidding me?
No.
Who knew? How much
He's in deep.
I didn't know that. That's a nice tip. Can you go on eBay and buy one before everybody else does, Eric?
Oh, I'm on it.
He's on it now. DoD real-time analyzer. It's like a battle. The price is going up like this.
Scully modules.
Scully modules. No, this is
DOD
gold. This is why we do this. Okay, Lawrence says, how much of your mix prep is planned into the tracking stage of the projects that you track? Do you find that you spend more time tracking to do that as a result? Let me understand that again. How much of your mix prep is planned into a tracking stage of your products that you track? Oh, okay. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Lawrence, but I think you're asking, are you tracking? No, and I think the answer is yes, but you're tracking the sounds, knowing
With the mix in mind.
With the mix in
Oh,
mind.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
He says how much of it. So everything is done like that,
Everything,
or is
yeah.
there? But then correct me if this is me, and correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't do any EQ to vocals. I always print fat and then mix it.
I might just high pass it or something.
If it's like
under
room
80.
noise or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly, or if it's a
Right.
condenser mic that needs a little roll off or something
Yeah.
like that.
I would never personally, and it doesn't sound like you would either, boost high mids or air on a vocal going in.
Not on a vocal, but I'm definitely EQing drums and stuff. I noticed a lot of younger engineers, and I don't know why they don't. There's no EQ applied on the way in to the recording device. They just do it later,
Right.
Which is weird to me because it's I know I don't want a bunch of this or that in there, and I know I want
Right.
to brighten up the snare.
Yeah.
I want to hear it right to tape. I don't want to have to do any work afterwards. I'd worked with Paul Rothschild, and he said, "Hey, Brad, you want to
You were with Paul.
you want to know the secret of a well-recorded track?" I'm like, "Yeah." So he just tape machine in play, and he just pushed his arms up on the faders and then kind of pushed a couple. He's like, "Ta-da!"
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, right."
Right.
So get it right going in, and
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about it. Or you can get it closer anyway. Like I was tracking Guns N' Roses guy last week, and it was a session where there's a huge entourage, and there's tough to move in there, and it's I can't really beat him to death in the sounds. So I get him really close and do just notch out some stuff and boost a little bit of stuff, and then in the computer on the plugins, then I can while he's tracking it, I can kind of nudge the EQ around a little bit.
Right.
You know, and everyone's, wow, those drums sound great.
Excellent.
Yay! So even if you don't have time to totally do it, you can do some of that. Like,
Right.
you know, like hi-hat mic. I don't want anything below. You know, what is it? 600, 500. I don't want anything, nothing in there. So I just like, you know, dump all that low stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you don't need it. It's just going to interfere.
Sure.
You know.
Great.
So like that.
No, I love that. That's awesome. So basically, a lot is the answer, Lawrence. I mean, he's pretty much printing it how he wants to hear it. And I love the fact that you are name-checking Paul Rothchild.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
He was great. He showed me how to edit tape, too, without touching the sticky tape, without touching the edit tape, with a razor blade.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, he's just like a total artist. Doop. You know?
Well, Dan told me, his son, that Light My Fire is a window edit on the vocal.
Oh, right.
So they're doing the, you know, I get fire.
Window edit.
Is a window edit. So that vocal, is, I don't know, say it was at 30 yips, probably was
like a vocal phrase was?
a vocal phrase, yeah.
Yeah.
So a window edit means he's got his 8 tracks on a 2-inch tape. Actually, it might have been a 1-inch, so either a 1 or 2-inch tape. Let's say 1-inch was really scary. And then it's track, say, 3, because it was in the middle. A window edit means that you're cutting the track out, probably a few feet. Fire is like, you know, 30 inches a second. That's like 3 seconds. So we just did 90 inches.
It was probably at 15 ips back then, huh?
No, 15, so 45 inches.
Easy peasy.
Yeah. Of a little tiny slender piece measured perfectly through the whole track. And then the window edit means then you have to cut up to where the band is and cut a piece out that matches it and then drop the tape back in all the way on that phrase. Yeah, Dan told me that was a window edit.
Man. Paul told me a story
So
where...
when you're telling me he's good at editing tape, I was like...
yeah, he's amazing. And like, he told me a great story where Mama Cass was telling a story in the control room, and she had a milkshake in her hand, and she was doing this, and she did this with a milkshake, and the milkshake went all over, like, what's the big Mamas and Papas hit?
California Dreaming.
California Dreaming. So I guess milkshake all over California Dreaming. So they're at 2,500 feet of tape. They're out there wiping all the milkshake off of it. They wiped the entire tape off and then dried it and rolled it back up on the reel.
You heard it here, folks. Wow.
No!
So what were you working with Paul on? What was it on?
I was assisting on this guy named Eddie Ray Wolf, and it was Dan engineering and Paul producing.
Oh, wow.
At the same time, I was taking a class at UCLA with Ray Manzarek and his kid Pablo.
Oh, wow. So you were just door-tastic. Everything was
so
about
I got,
the doors.
you know, and my vinyl was at my mom's house far away, so like I had a CD, so I had Paul sign it, and he said, Brad, remember, the music is your only friend.
You still have it?
Yeah, it was the first record. And then Ray saw that and went, you know, NB, note well, Paul, this is from a different record. So they're like, he was hacking on Paul with his little signature. It's so funny.
So you've got Paul
and Ray
Manzarek.
I wish it was on vinyl, but all I had was a CD. It's good enough, you know. And just he was hacking on Paul in the autograph. Was really funny to me.
Wow, that is so cool. I love doing these candid ones.
You know
it's
what?
Not edited. We just
Do you remember
let the schnizzle go.
You asked me a question on the little follow-up for this.
Yeah.
Talking about what's the favorite track I ever recorded.
Yeah.
It was the Nick track that never got released. It did get released. I forgot, and I brought one for you.
Oh, wow. We were talking about this for everybody. Oh, that's amazing.
So we can share this with everyone because I own the masters, so we can share it. But check this artwork out.
You own the masters?
Yeah, I own all these masters.
So
For
this is
sure.
Nick. How do I pronounce his name? Oliveri?
Oliveri.
Oliveri from the Queens of the Stone Age.
Look at that.
Can you see out the camera okay? Everybody?
Is there shine on there?
The label is ballsrecords.com. No Balls Records, sorry.
No balls.
No Balls Records.
German guy. Used to be called I Used to Fuck People Like You in Prison Records.
Oh, God.
And obviously you had to change it.
Yeah, okay. Family friendly. Luckily, this is a completely... I love this. This is totally...
That's for you.
Oh, thank you ever so much. Oh, so he sent this to you when you asked him?
No, I got 50 of them. That was the deal.
Oh.
I think he made 500 of them. Nick got 50. I got 50.
Oh wow.
That was it.
Wow. So we can share the multi-tracks?
I don't have the. Well, I do have the multi-tracks. I can. Yeah, we can share the master just to listen to for fun, just to show what an aggressive track it is. Because man, the vocal is scary.
See, what would be amazing.
Scully all over this thing.
Scully will love this. It'd be great to get this and let the Academy people hear the multi-tracks.
I do have the multi-tracks somewhere. I mean, it's not a tape. It's on computer, but
No, that's fine.
yeah, it's probably just a few tracks too. It's not a big production at all.
That would be amazing. I think everybody watching would be incredibly excited to get some Queen of the Stone Age members' multi-tracks to play with.
Scary and heavy.
Scary. We like scary and heavy.
Chiefly scary. his vocal is
Okay, we're going to get through more of these. We are going to do this for 2 hours, everybody, so hopefully we'll get through all the questions. And we'll listen to another song in a second. Let's do 2 more questions. David Tate says, I got a great guitar sound once when I rested a Fender Concert on a little heavy bass desk stand as a 57 wouldn't reach the grill. Hey presto, instant contact mic, 57 on the grill. Hey, if it works, it works. Nice work. Tessa says, just says hello. Hey Brad, says Electric Owl Works. What does your current mix template and routing look like? How do you send instrument groups and buses and groups, and what kind of EQ and dynamics do you use on your subgroups and 2-bus? Do you have a template, or do you create one new every song?
I mean, I don't know if I call it a template. I just set the tracks up in a certain way. Yeah, I guess drums are on top, followed by the bass here, and the guitars, and keys and solos, and vocals, and harmony stuff, and reverbs down here. So,
right.
And
pretty close to me. Yeah.
And like Eric does the opposite thing. The vocals are on the top section, but I don't know why. I just do it starting with drums, and everything goes this way.
Yeah.
If that's answering the question. I'll also
I think it means
subgroups and stuff.
Yeah, like do you always bus things a certain way and have certain plugins or hardware?
I have a Studer console with it's 10 mono inputs and 4 stereo inputs at my place. Right. So I'll have the kick and snare separate, and then what I call kit, just the top kit, all the other mics except for the kick and snares, and then bass down, the bass is down one channel, If it's 2 guitar guys, it's like stereo guitar channel, or two mono channels rather,
right.
Because I have a little different EQ on each one. Vocals, harmonies, what else? I keep it pretty small, and
right.
largely just mixing in Pro Tools. Really.
We should do a mix breakdown with you in a Pro Tools mix. That'd be really cool. Yeah.
I'm sure nothing complicated is going on.
No, but I think sometimes that's what we need to hear. I mean, we've been interviewing, you and then Michael Beinhorn and Dave Jordan, and everybody's like, what did you use? Put a D112 on the kick, 57 top and bottom.
It's all boring.
421 on the toms. Everybody's saying the same thing, and it's like, yeah, but have you heard the drums on Super Unknown? Yeah. I mean, it's like
you got to do a thing to it after that.
Yeah, but it's like they're amazing, and so if that's what you use.
There it is.
There it is. I mean, people always used to tell me the D112 sucks, and it's like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't suck. It's a totally different mic to a D12. They probably should have renamed it because they sound totally different. But to say a D112 sucks is just stupid because it's like you put it inside a kick.
Depends.
And it sounds like a modernish kick drum. But if you're not after that sound, don't use it. You know what I mean? It's like use the D12 if you want more of want a little bit more of a thud.
RE20 or whatever.
RE20 or
421.
420. What Jack was telling us the other day, you wait to see these interviews. Jack was telling us that Roy Cicala would take surgical hose like that, and he'd loop it around the kick drum, around the lugs on the outside.
So no, why? Rattles or something? Or?
No, and then he would tie a 57. So it's all sprung loaded at 57. Out. Yeah. Then every time the kick would play, the mic would move with the kick. Like this. Because this is Roy Cicala, who's
why do we want that?
Say again?
Why do we want that?
Well, I think basically his point was if the mic was, and he used a 57 on the kick. We're talking songs like Imagine. So it's a 57, How Do You Sleep at Night? They retract the drums. Which is interesting, by the way, and I'll give you a hot tip for the Jack Douglas interview that's going to come out. The video of the making of the record, Imagine, most of that stuff was retracked in America. So it's Alan White playing on How Do You Sleep with George Harrison. On the final one, it's Jesse Ed Davis and Jim Keltner playing.
In New York.
Yeah, in New York.
Yeah,
but they
I see that.
always kept Klaus Voormann. He said there's just something magical about Klaus Voormann's bass part. Anyway, so the theory is, and I understand the theory is, if you have a stationary mic but a kick drum's moving like this, there's potential all kind of phasing things. So his was, is he just wanted the mic to move with the kick drum.
As long as it's not messing with anything around it.
Yeah,
It's
but
good,
I mean,
yeah.
but it's directly in front of the kick drum. So,
Yeah.
so anyway, and it's Roy Cicala, and those records sound phenomenal, and for many reasons, not just the recording, obviously the songs, the performances, but
67 on a kick is a good trick.
absolutely.
They sound amazing.
Okay, Bring Me Sunshine started to use fixed EQ points on various emulations, talking back to the AC/DC conversation. Having too much options made me realise I was still a bit lost. That's a good point. Less is more became the watchword for fix the things that have problems, definitely. I'm going to try and get through these. Donnie O, that's unexpected. How in the world do you get your tracks sounding so good without having to move around the mic, move the mics around that much? I'm not sure what they mean. I mean,
You mean moving the mics on the cabinets and the kit and all that? Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
like for the kit, I kind of know where they should be anyway.
I think what
And-
you're saying is you just know the right place to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not. I mean, I'll take a walk with the room mics with the kit maybe. Everything else is pretty much, that's the place. Maybe move the snare mic around to the kick mic, and then for a cabinet, before they're playing with all the hiss coming out of the amp, I stick my ear there, and I don't know if I did this they got me on the video doing this, but I move my ear around until I hear like where the hiss is like sharpest or most high end, and that's going to be the edgiest part of the. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah,
the
essentially the tone, yeah.
edgiest part of the sound.
Yeah.
No matter where it is, that's it. So I just find the part and I put my finger there. And it's like then the mic goes right there.
Ah.
And sometimes it doesn't work. So you nudge it over a couple inches and get it duller or something like that.
Right.
But
Right.
there's not. Usually it's in a good place and we can just deal with it.
I'm going to tell you this tip and tell everybody who's watching.
Yeah.
It's going to come out in the video with Jack. We had the stems of Walk This Way. And those two guitars, after the riff. And I said to Jack, I was like, they're like in time, but not in time. They're just grooving perfectly. How did you do it? And he's like, they're being tracked at the same time. Okay, cool, they're playing together. He goes, they both went through a stereo pi compressor. So the attacker Zeski Kubus.
Everything around me teases me. The stupid face in front of my eyes, and the quiet talk behind the door. I won't silence people. This feeling came suddenly, and all these things are a little different, and I can't sleep well without overthinking, and no one can understand this. I wanna fly to the moon, and I pray to the God to take me away from here forever. And because of this, I have a lot of problems. My family thinks I'm a freak. My relationships have disappeared. Oh no, no, and no one can understand this. I wanna fly to the moon, and I pray to the God to take me away from here forever. I wanna fly to the moon, and I pray to the God to take me away from here forever.
The drums sound really good.
Yeah.
Kick and snare.
And,
Nice.
yeah, and I love Electric Outworks making me think that way. Says I'm digging in the Lower East Side Patti Smith groove. I think that's true. It does. I don't know about you. I love accents. I love accents. Like that's what was great about the Velvet Underground when Nico sang. You know.
Oh, his accent.
You know,
Oh,
just
actually,
like there
linguistically?
she
Oh,
goes, you better. You know, I love. To me, it sounds like punk rock and new wave and New York scene and.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like the blending of like all the different cultures and art.
It doesn't sound totally American accent.
Yeah, and just doesn't sound homogenized. It's like you know that there's some cultural. I don't know. Growing up, I loved prog rock, like early prog rock. I'm not talking about shredded prog rock. I'm talking like because I got into Queen, and so I went back, and then I went through like ELO and Supertramp and like all of this pop stuff, and then I got to like 15, and I discovered Crass.
What is that, a punk band?
Oh yeah, they were a total anarchist punk band. They had an album called Jesus Christ the Album. You know, I mean, it was like hardcore, and then I just went total punk rock and the Damned and everything and like all this, you know, Flux and Pink Indians and like total punk. And I feel like that made me balanced and that made me who I am. That I love all kinds of music.
Punky Queen.
Yeah, punk. But I mean, isn't that like all the best music is just the best music? You know?
I would say on this mix, turning the toms up might help.
Toms? Okay.
Toms sound kind of like I like toms as a lead instrument because there's a whole, you know, the vocal drops out, and it's like now the go around can be the lead instrument. You know.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Because they sound a little tucked in.
That's very Roger Taylor.
Just always want to hear those toms. Boom.
Nice. But I
sound
love
great.
what people are pointing out. That it's got that kind of New York 70s groove, and feels like I like that. I like that a lot. It was like
The tone of the track, the balance is nice. Just lots of low end on the kick and snare and stuff.
Yeah.
It just sounds very satisfying.
yeah,
Nicely done.
nicely done. Abhinav says, love the clarity in the mix. Sounds like it's mixed on an analog console or a desk or console. Maybe. Lovely big open sound. Yeah, lots of people are digging it. All right, great work. Thank you, Grozeski. And probably 9 hours ahead of us. So if you're up, it's midnight. Okay, let's hit another one. This one's Jerry D.
Work to the bone, she's late getting home, and it's just another day. 2 kids to feed, barely making ends meet, but she feels blessed in every way. Needing for nothing but wanting for much. Grace is found there in a child's living touch, and the world keeps turning, and what goes around comes around. What goes around comes around. Never worked a day, her wants met every way, that's all she's ever known. In a high-rise apartment in downtown Manhattan, she lives there but she's all alone. Wanting for nothing but needing so much, all the money in the world can't buy one loving touch, and the world keeps turning, and what goes around comes around. Yes, the world keeps turning, and what goes around comes around. Things could be better, but she won't complain. She's thankful that it isn't worse. Well, she's in a room at the top of the world, feeling it's all been a curse. One has a life that no money can buy. One's all alone in a mansion in the sky, and the world keeps turning, and what goes around comes around. Yes, the world keeps turning, and what goes around comes around. Yes, the world keeps turning, and what goes around comes around. Yes, the world keeps turning, and what goes around comes
It's a cool track, got a lot of definition. Again, I wonder if those are real drums or they're programmed. They're either programmed drums or they're drums with very heavy amount of samples against them. I mean, I like them, and there's definitely very modern rock. That's kind of how drums sound, and that's okay. But I think for the purposes of just maybe a dirty rock and roll track, I'm always looking for ways, if I'm thinking dirty rock and roll, to just mess them up just a little bit. Sometimes I don't know about you, sometimes if somebody gives me something that's obviously programmed or very sample based, I'll put like a badly out of time dirty delay on it. So it's like boom, you know what I mean? But this low, just so like kind of when you parallel compress it, there's some You know what I mean? Something ugly going on.
I like how the strings were sitting in there. It's
Beautiful,
It's
yeah.
tough to make strings sit within a rock track sometimes. You could really hear the definition and stuff.
Great. Yeah.
Sitting right there in the middle.
But like you were saying to me, it's a pretty polished track.
Yeah.
Pretty polished
Super
track.
polished.
Well, we've gone over our allotted 2 hours. However, a couple of things. Any burning desires, any question that you're dying to ask that could have like a quick answer. So if you guys and girls have like something you really, really want to know, just ask it now. That'd be great. I want to let Bradley go home. He got here early about 12 so we could get set up. So he's already been here 3 hours, which I appreciate. Obviously, the course, please pick it up. If you haven't already got the course, it's pretty fantastic. We filmed it over 2 days at Eric Valentine's studio. Amazing gear.
That was fun.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, did 2 days on it. It's $47 for 2 days worth of filming. I think it's condensed to just a few hours, but
Was it 1 day of recording? No, it was.
no, it was 2 days of recording because you came back and did some fixes and then mixed.
Okay,
Like you did guitar overdubs the next day and
Oh,
mixed.
right. But the bass, yeah, we got the bassics on the first day.
Oh yeah, you pretty much finished on the
The
first.
drummer
day.
was there for like 2 hours.
Yeah, the drummer was like, well, because the original idea was he was going to come in and set up in
we're
the
gonna track it the
morning
next day.
and then leave.
Yeah.
But I think by about 1 p.m. you'd already tracked drums and he left.
Yeah.
We carried on going.
Well, he has a smoked meat business, so he had to go procure meats and sell smoked meats. So
Smoked meat
he had like
business.
he had like a 2 o'clock deadline, so it's like, let's just knock it out before you go. Come on, it's convincing him to just do it.
So any burning desires,
It worked
everybody?
out.
Any like questions you really, really want to know? You got any questions about the course? If you haven't got it yet and you want to know why you should, I can tell you it's pretty amazing.
Scully.
Okay, here they come in. Nice lead vocal, three-quarter time. Nice groove. Drums a little too tucked in. Solid vocal performance. Nice vocals, both lead and backing.
Yeah.
For me, it generally sounds great. Have one remote. The kick sub ringing too long and maybe a bit loud. Would you be able to critique mine? It's punk, not on a huge budget. 3 mics on the drums and mostly live in a rehearsal room. I want to know what could be done to improve. I'm a complete newbie. Did you send it in? And what, if you did, what did you call it? Kevin wants to know what's your rate. I think that's a very personal question based on how long it's going to take, how you want to record it.
You can get a hold of me though. There's ways to get a hold of me and stuff.
If you want, Kevin, if you want to message me, I'll get you Brad's information. But I'm sure Brad is just like me. There's no one size fits all. I can't go, it's going to be $20 million because I might get in there and
Depends
it's
when
3
we're
hours of
doing
work.
it, yeah.
And other times it
A
might be 3
song,
months.
a record,
Yeah.
whatever, a mix, yeah.
Because you have to think about how much of your life is this going to take.
Right.
If it's a 3 months, you're not
Once
going
I
to charge.
commit, I committed. I'm in.
Yeah, you're in. Yeah.
You know?
And he is. Yeah.
I'm gonna go in deep.
Shame you're leaving. Fully understand, but so thanks for the invite. Much enjoyed. Tar. We haven't gone yet. Any tips on choosing studio monitors, ported, not ported, passive radios, steel boxes, etc.?
The world of speakers.
Yeah, I'm blessed that I have a schnizzle ton of speakers. I've got 3 pairs up here. I've got about 4 pairs sitting in boxes. I've got big focals. I've got PMCs. I've got Eve audio monitors. I've got Onus 10s. I've got 2 different sizes of Genelex. I've got 3 different sizes. You name it, I've got it. I like them all. I am digging the focals. If I was to start again, the big brothers of these focals and the Eves, I both like. One's Ribbon Tweeter. Also have Unity Super Rocks as well. I own those as well. I own pretty much everything you can think of. What I do like is a bit softer in the high end now because I'm tired of getting tired quickly. Yeah. Like the Genelex today, first time I've used them today, you know, we didn't work that much yesterday. We were just listening back to tracks. And today I'm like, wow, those are bright. Because I've been off them for a few days.
They're bright, you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're bright. And so it's that, you know what I mean? I got called away and just got here. Studio Dude 1. Oh, but it's going to replay. It's going to be in the Academy. Those of you who are Academy members, it's going to be in the Academy. If you're not an Academy member, join. It's amazing. There's Brad's course. If you haven't got it already, get it. Does Brad ever print vocal echo while tracking? Do you print effects, vocal effects while you're tracking?
Yeah. If they want to hear, like I personally don't need to hear any effects when I'm producing a vocal. I don't. I'd rather not. But if the artist needs some goo to get into the track, yeah, whatever he's hearing, or he or she's hearing, I'm printing as well, for sure. Right. So it just depends on what the vocalist needs.
Okay, so Dev Reynolds said he sent in his song and it was called Hollywood. All right. And his name is Nick Burnham. All right. One last one, because you asked.
Hey you, the door is open, but you not might fit through. Hey you, you're nearly perfect. Come back when you look like we do. Hey, Hollywood. Hey you, you're barely legal, but we that ought to kill. There's shit going round, we're tied up and bound. This shit's going down, we're all gonna drown. Time to repent. The ground around you burned away. There's no need for it anyway. Hollow sun is all you learn, but it's always warm and you'll never burn. Hey you, obsessed with your life, watch you through the waves. Hey you, becoming sun like shining like a. Hey, Hollywood. Hey you, became unstable, waiting for a start to fall. There's shit going round, we're tied up and bound. This shit's going down, we're all gonna drown. Time to repent. The ground around you burned away. There's no need for it anyway. Hollow sun is all you learn, but it's always warm and you'll never burn. There's shit going round, we're tied up and bound. This shit's going down, we're all gonna drown. Time to repent. Pray you have the chance to get on stage and do the dance for me. Approval belly, don't slow down. Watch the monkey dance, you clap and cheer your circumstance up there. Don't see through you. My head explodes, still no views. My head explodes. Highway falling through the cracks to please you, pay-per-view. We're crawling through the traps to keep you. We glow for you. Painted faces, pumped up places. Pay-per-view. Life's not easy without TV.
Cool. I mean, it's definitely. It's funny. It reminds me of the Mekons. When I was standing in the disco, where were you? It's that same English accent. Where were you? Everybody remember the Mekons? I think you and I played it when we were working together. I was telling you about it. I had it on yellow vinyl, and I played it to you. Remember the Mekons? Oh, I'll play it in a second. It's pretty hilarious.
I would say for that track, certainly like brighter guitars, just edgier guitars.
Right.
More overhead mic.
Yeah.
More splashy cymbals.
And also, if it's only 3 mics in the kit, presumably that will help the toms as well.
And put some low end on it to bring the toms out, I guess.
Yeah.
And then
Cut the 400.
you know, cut the 400 out of the kick. The snare needs to be brighter, 5K, 7K, whatever.
Right, and then some 700-800 on the for a little nose on the bass.
Yeah, so the bass pokes out during the loud parts, and then during the quiet bass lead thing, you gotta bring that lead voice forward.
Yeah.
What else?
I wouldn't mind personally a bit of 2 to 3K on the bass for a bit of grit. I wouldn't be afraid to put a little bit of distortion on it. It's a little polite for a punk song. It's still like I'd prefer a little bit of growl. I'd like a little bit of growl personally.
And a little louder snare and perhaps kick, so it drives the track a little more.
Definitely kick, yeah. I don't know with the 3 mics what 3 mics they are, but
The kick snare over. Yeah.
yeah, if you got kick, give us some 40-60 down there. Give us some. At the moment, it's like.
I like the song though. It's a fun song.
It is a fun song, and it does remind me of the Mekons. I don't know if I can play the Mekons.
As in the Mekong Delta.
The Mekong Delta. I don't know. In England, I'm not sure if we knew what that was. I'm trying to get my computer to.
Yeah, but that track could, it needs some stuff, but it could be really cool. Just brighten it out a bit.
The Mekons. Oh, it's even got the same. I had it in yellow vinyl. Can you hear this? Love this song. One thing I love about being a producer is this. I do this every time I'm making a record. We'll be talking. Yeah, this kind of stuff. Sure. This is like part of the process.
Reference tracks.
Like if this was, Nick was the artist and we were sitting here talking and he played us that as the demo, I would have done exactly the same thing. I'd have been like, that reminds me of the Mekons. Let's go listen to the Mekons. Let's see what that's about. And yeah, the guitar's out of tune at the beginning, but everything else on it is spectacular.
Sure, there's not enough distortion on the guitars, but
yeah, you could drive the guitars a little heavier, but the snare sounds fantastic.
Splashy cymbals,
but in a place.
The kick is driving that track.
Yeah, and the vocals are amazing. The balances are great, and it just sounds like punk rock. Even without distortion, you know it's a punk rock song. And that's what I love, and that's what's great about production is that you get to do that and talk about music and inspire people. Because people always ask me, what's a big part of production? A lot of it's that. Inspiring people, like playing that. I mean, hopefully Nick heard that track and was like, wow, yeah, it's cool. Like I would reference that song. I mean, listen, Brad was saying the snare needs to be brighter. Listen to that. The snare was like, it was...
brighter yet bottomy.
Yeah, Brian with the bottomy. And everything was in its place, and it still sounds like the 70s. I think it's like very late 70s. It might be 80. I can't remember. I mean,
brighter is like 5K, 7K.
Yeah.
Maybe 10K.
Yeah. See, I'm now going to look it up.
Make your snare body meters like around 200 for the shell part.
Yep. Classic Need 220.
Right.
Oh, British American rock band. So I wonder who was American in the band. I didn't know that. Leeds, West Yorkshire. History. Band was formed in 76 at Leeds University. Art students, of course they were. And they took the band, The Milk at Me, from, it's from the comic, Dan Dare. You're correct, somebody pointed that out. Their first single was called Never Been a Riot, which is a satirical take on the Clash's White Riot. never been in a riot, sorry. For several years, the close-knit band plays bare bones post-punk. Meekon's first album, Quality of Mercy Is Not Sternum, was recorded using the Gang of Four's instruments. Awesome!
Oh, wow.
How cool is that? Due to an error by the Virgin Records art department, featured pictures of the Gang of Four on the back cover.
And their instruments were used.
Oh, that's amazing. Ceased activity for a while. The Three Johns. Yeah, I'll just give the discography. It doesn't have the singles written down here. Of course, it doesn't. EPs. Oh, singles. Where were you? 1978. There you go. That was 1978. And I bought it when it came out, so I was years old.
I was living in Iowa.
Were you living in Iowa? What were you listening to in 1978?
Probably.
In America, it's probably like Kiss.
No, whatever my Black Sabbath, whatever my
okay.
brother was listening to. Yeah. Black Sabbath and.
Yeah, I was listening to Black Sabbath.
Motorhead.
Motorhead. Yeah, first Motorhead stuff. Yeah, I bought Ace of Spades in what, 80? I went to see him in 81 at Hammersmith Odeon.
My dad used to have a bunch of funk records. Joe Tex.
Joe Tex. Wow.
Ain't gonna dance with no big butt woman.
Yep, Gang of Four, great references. All right. Yep. You all absolutely rock. This has been fantastic. Thank you ever so much, young Bradley.
That's great.
Really good. You're among me by a few months, so I can say that. Yeah, monitor before you go to your AD. I might be missing something there, but fantastic. Really, really cool. Thank you, everybody, for partaking in this. If you haven't already, the last sales. This is the last sales spee. Go get the course if you don't already have it. It's pretty amazing. It's 2 days of work condensed into a video. You get all the multi-tracks, you get to mix it, and I'm sure we'll do more of these. Well, we'll do another course, and we think we're going to do one with the Nick Oliveri one.
Yeah, Mondo Generator.
That would be good. A mixed course on that would be fantastic.
Nick's going to scream in your face.
Do we have that track available?
We got it before, huh?
Yeah.
I'll have to do some digging.
He's going to do some digging. We'll do some digging. So if you haven't got it, get the new course. We'll do more. Have a marvellous time recording and mixing. And thank you ever so much. Thank you, everybody that participated. Thank you for the great questions. Thank you for the great mixes. And it was fun to listen to other people's songs and have a conversation that ends up with the Meekons.